here at ACSS. I just wanted to share with you guys my journey of how I became homeless and how I started working here at ACSS. So I was in school studying for my master's degree. I had been on my job for 10 years and I needed to adjust my schedule so that I could finish my internship. So I had spoke to my supervisor about it. She was supportive of the idea, but then she was telling me that it had to be approved by our administrator. So I had some concerns about that. But in any case, after a few days, I got word back that my request was denied. So I didn't plan on that. So I was like, I don't know what I'm gonna do now. I just figured, this is a win-win, we all win, had I got approved. But, so just stumped. But then within the same week, I had got my paycheck and my check was $600 short. So I'm like, what is going on here? I was panicking, but then I was telling myself, no, this is a mistake. They're gonna fix it. They're gonna cut you a check. It's gonna be okay. So I spoke to my HR person and she got right back to me and she had gave me some documentation from the court. And apparently my checks were being garnished. So I'm like, okay, shocked. So I had did some more digging and I found out that it was due to credit card fraud, which I've never had a credit card. So they obviously sent me out something and somebody, used it. So once again, another situation, just feeling like not in control of and have no way how to fix it. So I'm just feeling totally lost right now. So one day my sister called me, we were just catching up and, she was just sharing with me some good news, good things that's going on for her. She was saying that she had just bought a, 6-bedroom house in Conyers and she was telling me that she was, she needed help at her daycare center. So while, me and her was talking, I was sharing with her what I was doing and I'm finishing up my master's degree and that, the situation with the garnishment. So, my sister had a solution for everything, which, honestly, it made me feel good. So she offered me to come up to her home to stay there with her and to work at her daycare center. She was like, oh girl, just leave that job. You've been there, 10 years? You've been there long enough. Just come and work with me. So I was like, okay. So, so in any case, I was like, are you sure? Do you have the space? She was like, sure. So I was like, well, I have a dog. His Noodles, by the way, that's my Shih Tzu. So she said, no, it's fine because I have 2 dogs as well. So I was like, okay. So, went up there, was staying with her I was at her house for about 2 months. And then while I was there, within the 2 months, I started to see, just the whole plan unraveling, I'd say within about 2 weeks, started to hear complaints about the dishes, the dinner being left out, the dog, Noodles again. So I was like, well, maybe if I give her some money, she'll kind of lay off of me a little bit. So I gave her $600 and, things was quiet for a little bit. And then month number 2 came around, the first of the month, stressing about bills, it was the cable and this, that, and the third. And mind you, her 2 adult children were living there and my uncle. So I'm like, okay, I gave her another $600. That was my last check that I got from my job. And, so one day we was in the kitchen and I just figured everything is resolved, we're back in good standing. So I was saying like, well, when am I gonna start working at the daycare center? So she was quiet, she didn't say anything. And I was like, that's not good. Inside here, I was like, that's not a good sign. So later on that night, I just went to bed, didn't sleep well at all. And I say the next morning, about 8:30, I received a text message from her and she told me to leave her house. She told me to leave her house. So she was like, I've been here long enough. And she was like, and I mean ASAP. And I guess I was in shock that my sister, she's my older sister, that she could do this to me. But then also, that she didn't even give me time to find somewhere else to go. So, I just packed up my belongings and I packed up Noodles, and unfortunately it was 19 degrees outside. So, I drove around that night till I fell asleep, was so tired, and that night we slept in my car. So the next morning I got up and I said, I gotta find somewhere for Noodles to go. I just was prepared to give him up because I didn't know how long I would be in the situation. So I had reached out to an agency, and she asked me, do I want to keep him? So I was like, yes. So she was telling me about a foster home, that would keep the dog for me. So that night we was able to locate a foster family, and they took Noodles in. So Noodles was with them for 6 months. But as for me, I stayed in my car for almost another 2 weeks. So I was calling 211, just different shelters, trying to find somewhere to go. And I'll say within the second week, I got a call back from the Women's Transformation Center, which is WTC. She told me that they had a bed and that I can come there and stay. That was on December 20th. And I left my sister's house on December 8th. So, I went there, and then I overheard a conversation about ACSS. So I asked the lady about it, and automatically I just felt hope appear. I just felt like things is gonna work out. I didn't know what was gonna happen from that, but I just felt hopeful. So I called ACSS up. I joined their boot camp class. Surprisingly, I was nominated president of the class. So that kind of stretched me, So in any case, I say 2 weeks within that, I got a job offer for Department of Community Health in the state of Georgia. So, I thought this is a good thing. I'm graduating, I got a job. But then the month of June. So the month of June came around, which is a month that changed my life. The month of June came around. The first day of June, I got keys to my brand new apartment. 2 weeks later, I graduated with my master's degree in clinical mental health counseling. 3 weeks later, I interviewed with ACSS. Mr. Ellis was telling me about a job there, and I got hired to work for ACSS. And at the end of that month, I was able to bring my baby back home, and me and Noodles was reunited. 18